Hello, my name is Gillian. I'm the Acting Head of Museums and Galleries for City of Edinburgh Council, and it's my pleasure to welcome you here to our Museum Collection Centre. Like many museum services, we have literally thousands of items in our collections, far too many to display at any one time in our museum venues. And so the items that are not on display are kept here. And there are many, many thousands of them, just as exciting as anything you'll see in the Museum of Childhood, in the Writers' Museum, in the People's Story, or the Museum of Edinburgh. And the collections cover a huge variety of topics, everything from Edinburgh's domestic life, our festivals, our schools, industry, and community events as well. So there's a huge variety of things to see, and I very much hope you enjoy your tour. Thanks.
Hello, I'm Russell and I'm the Collections Engagement Officer for Museums and Galleries Edinburgh, and I'm in the mezzanine area of the collection store today, which is where we keep our reserve collection of applied arts, and this is mainly glassware and ceramics. Our ceramics collection reflects objects of Scottish provenance, including Weemsware and McMurray studio pottery. We also have a large collection of Buchan stoneware and decorative pieces, which was donated to us in 1972 when the Portobello-based pottery moved to Crieff. We hold many of the original sample designs, which were innovated by the women who headed up the decorators' workshop from 1949 onwards. These vibrant, modern patterns reflected changing tastes in pottery design, but the iconic thistle design was always in production until Buchan's closed for good in the year 2000. Our glassware reserve collection reflects the superior glassmaking of the Holyrood glassworks under the Ford Rankin family, along with objects from the Edinburgh and Leith glassworks and studio glass from the late 20th century. The Holyrood Glassworks, based in the Canongate, was the most prestigious manufacturer of cut and engraved glass in Edinburgh during the 19th century. Our collections include coloured glass, air twist-stemmed goblets and wine glasses, and commemorative items containing cameos or coins, which were enclosed in the glass by creating an air bubble in which to place the item and then quickly sucking out the air to seal it inside. You can see all our main collections of ceramics and glass at the Museum of Edinburgh on the Canongate.
Hello, I'm Oliver. I'm a Museums Collections Assistant with Museums and Galleries Edinburgh. I'm in the other half of the mezzanine area at our collection centre. This part of the store is Orphan and Games, as it's one of 3 stores of the Museum of Childhood collection. This collection delves into the British childhood from the mid-19th century to today. City Councillor Patrick Murray started this collection in the 1950s, as he was worried that the city did not have anywhere to showcase 2 dolls that belonged to Queen Victoria. Thanks to Patrick Murray, the Museum of Childhood Collections contains every aspect of childhood, from all kinds of dolls' houses to hundreds of different types of puzzles, even your seaside holidays, school reports, and babies' feeding bottles as well. We have in our collection a handmade doll's house that is usefully furnished with a swing bin and an enticing looking fruit bowl. Other houses reflect more traditional tastes and were produced by British manufacturers such as Triang. The Museum's Collection Centre is home to hundreds of the Museum of Childhood's doll collection. We have dolls made of cloth, bisque, and costume dolls collected from around the world. These costume dolls are carefully packed and labelled in this box. There are plenty of different ways to travel at MCC. From this 1968 Triang Bermuda pedal car to rally trikes and chopper bikes, or in comfort with a mid-20th century Osnath pram. If you want to travel a little faster, then taking a train at MCC is your best option. Our collection of model trains ranges from this steam-powered Stephenson's rocket to the Hornby Freightliner. When we collect and display our model railways, we approach them from a child's point of view and how they were donated to us. So, for example, some of the sets may not match, and that isn't really how Hornby intended things to be. Other items reflect more simple pleasures, such as these interwall building blocks, colourfully decorated with children and animals, as well as this decorative Easter egg, just a small part of our childhood collections.
I'm Nico Tyack, Project Manager for Old Reekie Retold, and I'm in the part of the store with the older objects from Edinburgh's history, looking at the deep time of the social and political history of the city. The history collections date right back to the archaeological history of Edinburgh, so our earliest items are from the Mesolithic age, but the items we have here are mainly from the 17th and 18th centuries of Edinburgh's past, at a time when Edinburgh was in a massive phase of social, economic and political change. The city's population was growing, the changes in church practice led to a long period of unrest, strife and indeed civil war, which broke out across all of England, Ireland and Scotland. The collections here also deal with the everyday life of people in Edinburgh, not just the big historical events. Objects relating to the working and general everyday existence of a thriving city throughout the 17th, 18th and 19th centuries. The earlier collections are from when the Museum of Edinburgh opened its doors in 1932, which reflects the element of big historical events around the city. Later on, as the 20th century progressed, throughout the 70s and 80s, the way history was being studied was changing, and historians and researchers and academics were looking much more at the ordinary lives of people, and this is reflected in a change in the way that we were collecting and building our collections.
Hi, I'm Susie and I'm one of the collections assistants with the Museums and Galleries Edinburgh. I'm here in our social history collections to talk a little bit about the Edinburgh lifestyle. From domestic appliances to transport to retail to health and well-being, we have a huge variety in our social history collections. This is some of my favourite items and they show the modern domestic appliances which show the evolution of the home in Edinburgh. From washing machines to televisions, they show the everyday lifestyles of people just like you and I and help us relate to people throughout history. Our social history collections also represent the social movements and communities in Edinburgh, and one of the largest collections we have is our Proud City collection. They represent the proud lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, queer, intersex and asexual community in Edinburgh and focus on the end of the 20th century. They were mainly collected through the Remember When project, which was in conjunction with the Living Memory Association. Our collections represent the formation of a visible gay community in Edinburgh and focus on the history of the people of Edinburgh and recording their journey in what was a momentous political and social movement.
The Scottish Minorities Group was founded in 1969 and was pivotal in creating groups such as the Lothian Gay and Lesbian Switchboard, which was hugely important in creating a community, but also in distributing information, especially during the AIDS epidemic. In 1988, the movement became much more political with the enactment of Section 28. Section 28 was a law which prohibited the promotion of homosexuality by a local government.
This spurred the creation of the Scottish Homosexual Action Group, affectionately known as SHAG, who staged Lark in the Park, a music festival which predates Edinburgh Pride Festival. This was organised in the Ross Bandstand in Princes Street Gardens with permission from Edinburgh City Council, and this was after Section 28 was enacted. In 1995, thousands of people marched through Edinburgh on Scotland's first lesbian and gay pride parade. These are some t-shirts from these events. The story continues far beyond this into a diverse Edinburgh with its roots in these communities. It's now a much larger community with a lot more representation from our trans and non-binary friends. We continue to collect on all aspects of social history, recording the lives of Edinburgh residents, from their kitchens to their work to their fight for representation. The Museums and Galleries Edinburgh records this so that we can look back on the journey that made Edinburgh the city that it is today.
The Museum Collection Centre also has a lab where our collection care officer is based, and it's here where objects are checked, cleaned and packed away for storage. Thanks for joining us on the short tour of the Museum Collection Centre. You can find out more about our exhibitions, venues and events on our website edinburghmuseums.org.uk.